Today we are going to start our new topic, that is ways to recognize equilibrium. Equilibrium constant expression can be determined by physical as well as chemical methods. Physical method. This method is based on measuring the physical properties of the reaction mixture. This physical property is measured during the reaction without removing the sample from the reaction mixture. Let's discuss the spectrometric method. This method can be applied when the reactant or product absorbs ultraviolet, visible or infrared radiation. The concentration can be determined by measuring the amount of radiation absorbed. N2O4, when it reacts, an equilibrium is established, and this is a reversible reaction, and the product is 2NO2, that is reddish brown gas. So N2O4 is a colorless gas where NO2 is a reddish brown gas. The progress of reaction can be studied by measuring the absorbance at regular interval. Absorbance is proportional to the concentration of NO2. At equilibrium, spectrometer will show constant value of absorbance. So basically this is a physical property, and this is also called spectrometric method, and in this the reactant or product absorbs different radiations, and the amount or the concentration can be determined by these radiations absorbed. Okay, moving towards the chemical method. So in this method, the amount of reactant or product is determined by a suitable chemical reaction. Consider the reaction between acetic acid and ethanol to form ethyl acetate and water, and it is an example of reversible reaction in solution. So the acetic acid will combine with the ethanol to give it is acetate and with water, ethyl acetate and water. So suppose this reaction is started by taking A molecules of acetic acid and moles of acetic acid and B moles of ethanol in a stoppered flask at room temperature. A small amount of mineral acid is added to the mixture to catalyze the reaction. The progress of reaction can be studied by determining the concentration of acetic acid after regular intervals. For this purpose, a small portion of mixture is withdrawn. The concentration of acetic acid is determined by titrating it against the static solution of NaOH using phenolphthalein as an indicator. The concentration of acetic acid will decrease until the equilibrium is attained. At equilibrium, the concentration of acetic acid will become constant, indicating that equilibrium has been reached. So in this reaction, we have to take A moles of acetic acid and B moles of ethanol, and a small amount of mineral acid is also added as a catalyst. So in order to determine the concentration, we have to take the small portion of the mixture and use that titration technique using the indicator phenolphthalein. So the concentration of acetic acid will decrease because it's reacting and converting into the products. So at the equilibrium, the concentration become constant. So this is how we use the chemical method to recognize the equilibrium. Factors affecting equilibrium. So here is the important principle, that is Le Chatelier's principle. It is necessary to understand the factors that control the position of chemical equilibrium. A knowledge of such factors helps industrial chemists to choose conditions that favor desired products as much as possible. We can predict the effects of various factors such as concentration, pressure and temperature on a system at equilibrium by using Le Chatelier's principle. Okay, what this principle says, it states that if a change is imposed on a system at equilibrium, the position of the equilibrium will shift in a direction which tends to reduce that change. So if the change is happening in the reactants, so the position of the equilibrium will shift into the direction that tends to reduce that change. At equilibrium, the forward and reverse reaction are driven by molecular collisions. When we change temperature, pressure and concentration, the frequency and the energy of collisions between reacting molecules increase or decrease. This in turn turns changes the reaction rates and then causes a shift in the equilibrium position. So if the change is happening in the reactant, so the reaction that is favorable is the forward reaction, and if the change is happening in the products, then the reaction will be in the backward direction. So in order to resist the change. The effect of a change in concentration. When the concentration of one or more reactants or products present in the equilibrium mixture is disturbed, the system will not remain in the equilibrium state. According to Le Chatelier principle, the equilibrium shifts to accommodate the substance added or removed and restore equilibrium again. Consider the following gas equilibrium: CO2 plus H2 gives us CO plus H2O. So when CO2 is added to this equilibrium system, it is no longer in equilibrium. Higher concentration of CO2 increases the rate of forward reaction relative to the reverse. So if the concentration of CO2 is getting high, so equilibrium is disturbed and the reaction that is favored is in the forward direction. The more CO2 and H2 molecules combine and more CO and H2 are formed. As the time passes, the concentration of CO2 and H2 decreases, lowering the rate of forward reaction. At the same time, increased concentration of products accelerates the reverse reaction. Ultimately, the two rates become equal again and equilibrium is re-established. The new equilibrium concentration of CO and H2 are higher than was present before the CO2 was added. Thus, equilibrium is said to have shifted to the product side. In all chemical systems, an increase in the concentration of product is increased. The equilibrium shifts towards the reactants. A shift towards the reactant lowers the concentration of the added product. The opposite happens when we decrease the concentration of a reactant or product. If the reactant concentration is decreased, the equilibrium shifts towards the reactant in the backward direction. Removal of product shifts the equilibrium towards in the forward direction towards the product. So let us state a microscopic event that takes place in the equilibrium system. The rate of chemical reaction depends on the number of effective collisions between the reacting molecules. At equilibrium, the number of effective collisions for the forward and the reverse reactions are equal. An increase in concentration of reactant increases such collisions for the forward reaction. Thus, equilibrium shifts towards the right with the formation of more moles of products. The number of effective collisions for the reverse process also increases. As time passes, the effective collisions of reactant molecules decrease, lowering the rate of forward reaction. Ultimately, the number of effective collisions for both the processes again becomes equal and equilibrium is re-established. Here we have the example 8.5, that is Kc for the following reaction is 1 into 10 to the minus 3 at 230 degrees C. So 2 ICl gives us Cl2 plus I2. So here we have 1.6 moles of ICl and 0.05 moles of I2 and 0.05 moles of Cl2, which are present in the equilibrium mixture in 2 decimeter cube container at 230 degrees C. Determine the equilibrium concentration of I2, Cl2 and ICl when the equilibrium is restored after the addition of another mole of ICl. Now we have the solution. 2 ICl gives us Cl2 plus I2. Initial concentration will be 1.6 plus 1 is equal to 2.6 and the Cl2 0.5, I2 0.05. Okay. And now the concentration at new equilibrium. So 2.6 minus 2x and 0.05 plus x, 0.05 plus x. Now equilibrium concentration in moles per decimeter cube. So 2.6 minus 2x divided by 2, and for Cl2 it's also 0.05 plus x divided by 2 and 0.05 plus x divided by 2. So we have to calculate the Kc. So Cl2 multiplied by I2 divided by ICl की power 2. ICl raised to the power 2. Okay. 1.0 into 10 to the minus 3 is equal to, so we are putting these values and taking the square root on both sides. So we got the value for x axis 0.029 moles per decimeter cube. Now we can calculate the concentrations for ICl, that is 2.571, by putting the value of X, and I2 and Cl2, by putting the value of X we got 0.079 moles per decimeter cube. Okay. Now we have the effect of pressure change. Equilibrium that contain gases are influenced by changes in pressure. When pressure on gaseous system at equilibrium increases, the system tends to reduce its volume to undo or minimize the effect of increased pressure. This is done by decreasing the total number of gaseous molecules in the system. This is because at constant temperature and pressure, the volume of a gas is directly proportional to the total number of molecules of the gas present. Consider the following equilibrium system. 2SO2 plus O2 gives us 2SO3. So, if we suddenly increase the pressure, what will happen? The reaction system will reduce its volume by reducing the number of molecules. This means the reaction will shift to the right. Because in this direction, three molecules react to produce two molecules, thus reducing the total number of gaseous molecules present. This means the equilibrium position shift towards the side involving the smaller number of gaseous molecules in the forward direction. And when the pressure is reduced, the system will shift to increase in volume. So, the reaction will move in the backward direction. H2 plus I2 gives us 2HI. When the pressure is changed in such system, neither the forward nor the reverse reaction is favored because the number of molecules is same in both sides. Changes in pressure or volume doesn't affect such equilibriums. So it only affects the equilibriums that has unequal moles of products and reactants. Now we have to study the effect of change in temperature. Chemical reaction that liberate heat are exothermic and that absorb heat are endothermic. Heat is placed on the right side. In case of exothermic and endothermic, it is placed on the left side. We can use Le Chatelier's principle to predict the direction. Treat energy as a reactant in the endothermic. Predict the direction of shift in the same way as an actual reactant or product is added or removed. Therefore, increase in temperature adding heat favors the endothermic reaction and decrease in temperature favors the exothermic reaction. When we are providing the heat, so the reaction will be endothermic, means it's absorbing the heat. And when reaction is endothermic, forward or reverse, so let's see. Okay, 2SO2 plus O2 gives us 2SO3. Del H naught is equal to minus 198 kilojoule. So in this reaction the heat is liberating. It's an exothermic reaction. Because the reaction exothermic, we can write 2SO2 plus O2 gives us 2SO3 plus heat. Heat can be treated as if it were substance involved in the reaction. According to Le Chatelier's principle, increase in temperature will shift the reaction from right to left in order to absorb the added heat and counteract the temperature increase. As a result of this change of concentration, SO3 will decrease and concentration of SO2 and O2 will increase. As a result, the value of equilibrium constant will decrease. The equilibrium will shift towards the left. So, heat is treated as a reactant. So, when there is increase in temperature, so the reaction will move from right to left. It means that in the backward direction. So, as a result, there will be the decrease in the concentration of SO3 and increase in the amounts of products. So, Kc is SO3 raised to the power 2 divided by SO2 raised to the power 2 multiplied by concentration of O2. So, that is why Kc is 2.8 into 10 to the power 2 at 1000 Kelvin, whereas 298 Kelvin the value of Kc is 1 into 10 to the power 26. The equilibrium production of SO3 is favored at low temperature. This is because Kc is much larger at 298 Kelvin than at 1000 Kelvin. Now considering the following reaction. So this is an endothermic reaction. So as the temperature is increased, heat enters the system and the reaction will shift from left to right. As a result of this, the concentration of NO2 will increase and that of N2O4 will be decreased. So here there is absorption of heat. So in order to reduce that change, in order to resist that change, the reaction will proceed in the forward direction. NO2 raised to the power 2 divided by N2O4. So that is why Kc for this reaction is 7.7 into 10 raised to the power minus 5 at 0 degree C and 0.4 at 100 degree C. The effect of addition of catalyst. So synthesis of ammonia by Haber's process. So what is the importance of catalyst? We will see from these examples. First is the Haber's process. So N2 plus 3H2 gives us 2NH3, that is ammonia, and this is an exothermic reaction liberating minus 92.46 kilojoule of heat. The equation provides that it's an exothermic reaction and the reaction proceeds with decrease in number of molecules or moles. Okay, low temperature. The forward reaction is exothermic, therefore low temperature will favor the formation of ammonia. The suitable temperature is 400 degrees C. High pressure. Since 4 molecules react to produce 2 molecules, due to high pressure, the equilibrium will shift to the right side, formation of NH3. The most suitable pressure is 200 to 300 atm. So the temperature is low and the pressure is also high. Pressure is high, that is 200 to 300 atm, because the volume is decreasing in the forward direction. So this reaction favors the formation of ammonia. Thus the optimum condition for the equilibrium production of ammonia is low temperature and high pressure. Although at low temperature yield of ammonia is high, the rate of its formation is so slow that the process becomes uneconomical. Therefore, a catalyst is used to increase the rate of reaction. Usually a piece of iron with other metal oxides is used as catalyst. The equilibrium mixture contains 35% NH3 by volume. Continuous removal of ammonia. Final factor that greatly increases the production of ammonia is the continuous removal of ammonia. This is done by liquefying ammonia. The equilibrium mixture is cooled by refrigeration coils until ammonia condenses at minus 33.4 and is removed. N2 and H2, which do not liquefy at this temperature, are recycled into the reaction mixture. The stress caused by the continuous removal of ammonia shifts the equilibrium towards the production of more ammonia. In fact, the mixture need not to be allowed to come to equilibrium at all. In this way, practically 100% conversion of ammonia occurs. N2 and H2 occurs. Okay, what is at which temperature ammonia condenses? Minus 33.4 degrees C. The contact process in the synthesis of sulfuric acid. So formation of sulfuric acid, S plus O2 gives us SO2, and so oxidation of sulfuric acid happens, which SO2 plus O2 gives us SO3, and the catalyst that is used in this process is vanadium pentoxide, that is V2O5, and it's an exothermic process liberating 198 kilojoule of energy. The oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide is the most important step in the production of sulfuric acid. The reaction is exothermic and the number of moles the reaction occurs with a decreased number of moles. So the Le Chatelier's principle suggests 3 ways to produce sulfuric acid. Low temperature. Since the forward reaction is exothermic, the low temperature favors. So the low temperature is a compromised temperature, that is 450 to 500 degree. High pressure. Since forward reaction produces fewer moles, so high temperature is present here and high pressure is present here. So the compromised pressure is used, that is 2 atm. Adding excess oxygen. According to Le Chatelier's principle, increase in O2 concentration, so there will be a shift in the equilibrium towards the right. However, adding too much O2 decreases the concentration of SO3, which slows down the reaction. Thus, a degraded 1:1 of SO2 and O2 is used to obtain high yields. Thank you so much for listening.